is not doing this.
We're now broadcasting, and I'm going to christen this show.
We have been broadcasting.
Well, we are now recording. How about that?
Okay, well, that's a difference.
Are we recording?
Yep. We are going to take it to the max.
Oh,
turn it up to 11,
Ben.
Friday.
Ben spent $5 on the iPad app, GarageBand, so he had to justify it by making that horrible riff.
Makes sense. Yeah.
All right, so Ben, you ready? You're recording on Ustream?
You don't want me to play the other one?
No.
Okay.
You're
Let's
going
not
to
say
anyway,
we
so
did. Okay.
Do it, you said?
No,
did?
let's not and say we did.
Well, I haven't yet, so now I did.
Taking it to the max.
You're recording on Ustream?
Okay.
For the second time, because this is the third episode.
Roman numeral 2.
On the Bristol scale.
Senor.
Okay.
That's an appendix. It's a Roman numeral, so if they were outlining the scale, they'd have a subscale. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I'm ready.
You recording on Ustream?
Yep.
Recording on your laptop.
Yep.
Everybody's ready? Okay, let's do this show, folks. Great. Coming up on Roundabout, find out what giant tech company is chasing after automakers, pressuring them to use its software. Talk about a trifecta of fail. 3 car magazines from 3 different countries are stuck in a very embarrassing situation. We'll get to that in a minute here. And we'll take a look back at the 1980s with a clever TV commercial from Dodge. Enjoy all of this great taste with fewer calories. Plus, we'll get to another blind spot story of the week that we're not doing anymore, and a Dream Cruise themed installment of Verses. So get in, sit down, shut up, and hold on. Roundabout is coming at you.
Why don't you subtract that blind spot?
Plus, we'll get to a
Real-time editing. What a concept.
I love science.
Enjoy all this great things.
Does it make sense
Yes, read it again.
Yes.
Coming up on Roundabout, find out what giant tech company is chasing after automakers, pressuring them to use its software. Talk about a trifecta of fail. 3 car magazines from 3 different countries are stuck in a very embarrassing situation. We'll get to that in a minute here. And we take a look back at the 1980s with a clever TV commercial from Dodge. So enjoy all of this great taste with fewer calories. Plus, we'll get to a Dream Cruise themed installment of Verses. So get in, sit down, shut up, and hold on, because Roundabout is coming at you. Roundabout is sponsored by Advance Auto Parts. Visit our website, roundaboutshow.com, to get up to $30 off your next purchase.
From AutoBytel's portable building in Long Beach, California, I'm Michelle Naranjo.
From Seattle, Washington, I'm Alex Kierstein from Hooniverse.com.
From Roundabout Towers in Livonia, Michigan, I'm Jim Hall from 2953 Analytics.
And I'm his supply of spare parts for organs, corneas, and such, Bob Hall.
I'm Stephen Ewing from Autoblog.com.
I'm your host, Craig Cole.
And trying to keep this all under control, I'm producer Ben Sanders.
This is Roundabout. I'm glad you don't have some banjo.
Welcome to Roundabout, episode 94, our weekly chat covering car culture, vehicle reviews, and some of the auto news you may have missed.
And boy, howdy, Stephen, it's good to be back.
Yeah, it is.
Did you guys miss me? Because if you remember, I wasn't here last week.
Yeah, right, Craig. we did.
The show was quite off the rails last week, and I think it's going to be even more so this week. We have quite a crowd joining us, but we are very fortunate to be blessed by the presence of the Super Hall brothers.
That's not the first F word that came to your mind, was it?
What?
I don't know.
Fine.
Because you stumbled on the
first.
I have a tick. In the presence of great...
It wasn't one of your little mini leisure strokes?
No, it wasn't. No, it
Comfort
wasn't.
stroke.
From the comfort ladies at the front?
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, wow. Jim Hall, 2953 Analytics, Bob Hall, a bifecta of awesome, joining us right now.
Thank you. I will try to make sure that my awesomeness is not too great, however.
I understand you came out from California, where you live now,
Yes.
after moving here.
I'm a neighbor of Michelle's, actually.
Yes.
It's very, very nice living here because property values are higher. Actually, now they're going to drop that I'm there after moving from Asia. But
I know,
sorry,
it wasn't
Michelle.
my mini horse. It was actually him that made it drop.
Sorry. No, I don't think so.
You have a mini horse?
She does.
Those are good eating.
Yeah. I always wondered though, what
You
wine
know, we
goes
only
good?
have them for their eggs.
What wine goes well with them?
It's a red meat, isn't it?
It is, but I understand it goes really well with a good Riesling.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
From the Mosel, maybe. Yeah.
I heard they're good stewed in black coffee.
Well, we are very fortunate to have you gentlemen here. The two of you.
Think so, huh?
You guys were gracing Autoline After Hours last night, which was Thursday night. You were from the Woodward Avenue. So you guys agreed to come on our show. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Jim, you're practically a regular. But Bob,
I like
this is
to
your
think
first
I'm
time.
regular, yes. And
Well, we were just talking about the Bristol stool scale earlier, so
What do we have today? 3 or 4?
he's been on the Miralax, so no more fives,
Oh,
right?
good. Yeah, I hope not. Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, so
Wikipedia.
we've got got a great show planned. A lot of wacky stuff coming up. Can't forget about our Skypers, Alex Kierstein, out there in Seattle,
Hello.
and of course Michelle, Joey, Naranjo. Let's get started, shall we?
Let's.
Yes,
Let's.
Well, it's the middle of August, and we all know what that means. It's Michelle's birthday.
Woo!
You're only
She's a
29
jolly good
once.
gal.
Oh, no, that's not true. You can be 29, and it becomes a number of days and a number more days,
Okay.
and then it gets into the thousands of days.
Yes, yes. But Michelle, you are only 29 once, so please let loose and have a little fun, okay?
Thank you.
Yes. And besides that, it's time, besides Michelle's birthday, it's time for another dream cruise to rumble, congest, and overheat its way down historic Woodward Avenue, which, like a box cutter with a fresh blade, slices its way through a slew of Michigan communities between Detroit and Little Detroit. I mean Pontiac. To help get you ready for the big event, which officially takes place on the third Saturday of every August, our friends at Chevrolet have put together a spotter's guide to help you identify historically significant Chevys from the past century. Can you tell a 55 Bel Air convertible apart from a Chevelle SS 454? I know the Hall brothers can. Can you? If not, this guide can help. It shows the profile silhouettes of 10 important bow tie cars. So learn yourself some history and check this out, roundaboutshow.com. Follow the link. And all I can say is, I hope it doesn't rain this Saturday. Nobody likes a wet dream cruise. Or changing sheets, number 3.
No, they used to use those
That whole
silhouettes.
sentence could have just been removed, and the show would have been so much better.
Well, Ben can do it in post, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
They use those silhouettes, you know.
We'll fix it in post.
Craig, I forget that Craig is he does this show because of our huge middle school audience.
Yes. Oh.
They use those silhouettes to identify enemy battleships, you know.
It's in the Royal Observer Corps, right?
Oh, there's the Amato.
No, it's a geo tracker.
All right. My mistake.
Oh,
I
God.
bet
Yeah,
they
but
have
is it a Chevy tracker?
Oh, you're right. Well, no, but you shouldn't deny your history. You really shouldn't. And if you think about it, General Motors was always about the companion cars. In 1927, they did these companion cars. So they had Cadillac, had LaSalle,
Oldsmobile Viking.
and Buick,
Marquette.
Oh, my.
and the other
Oakland
division,
had-
Oakland's companion car was Pontiac.
Wow.
And
Not
yeah,
Marquette.
exactly. And the only division that didn't have a companion car was Chevrolet until Geo.
Because it had a
And-
little Chevy badge in this odd globe.
But think
platinum.
about it. This companion
logo.
car had the same fate as all the other
Wait a minute,
companion
wait a minute, hang
cars.
on. It was Geo? I thought they abbreviated George because it was too long.
No, it was Geo.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, speaking of Chevrolet, Alex, what's going on? Something about a Corvette now.
Yeah, so apparently Lightning Motors, which I'm not familiar with, but
Who?
Shocking.
they've yeah, I mean, who,
He works for
I'm shocked.
Microsoft. I mean, cars? Sorry.
Well, anyways, they've just released a video of their new LH4 hybrid. And it's on its maiden voyage in this video. And while they claim it's inspired by the Corvette, I say this thing is about as Corvette inspired as the new Charger is a faithful recreation of the original. It kind of looks like someone kicked an EV1 in the ass. So just like the post on Auto Ambush says, it's apparently got a TDI motor somewhere under that apparently carbon fiber bodywork, but it sounds a little bit like a TR7 with a rusted out muffler. It doesn't sound so hot. The technology does seem pretty cool, though. I do like the idea of a TDI motor in a hybrid, and it's also got a hydraulic hybrid system like they have on large trucks.
Alex, electric and hydraulic both.
It's a hybrid.
It's a lot of weight.
Yeah, it sounds heavy.
Yeah.
Hang on, Alex. Alex, you say it looks kind of like an EV1 that got kicked in the butt.
Yes.
So in a way, what you're saying is it looks kind of like a first generation Insight.
Yes, it's a little longer and possibly uglier. I don't know. I'm not sure I can
Not
make
as
that
plucky.
evaluate.
Is that even an adjective?
But look, all I'm trying to say is I just hope that they, they've got the money that they didn't spend on making this video. They're putting into the R&D because it's sort of a handheld job. The video.
I thought you were saying a hand something. Well, it's a family show. This is a family show.
Especially if you're in middle school.
Yes, it is. Michelle, we've got that car was an accident. Short skirts can be blamed for other sorts of accidents as well, right?
Michelle, you muted yourself again.
Is Mich-
Speaking of being a family show, it is true that Brit climbing out of the back of a car sans knickers is actually the Antichrist. And like the swamp people who've been visited by Satan in the depths of a Louisiana creek, a recent poll of British men finds that short skirts are to blame for evil. Nearly 1/3 of the Learers polled claim that their wandering eyes resulted in the increase of accidents during the summertime. Sounds like burqa time.
Hey, now I have a question. This poll, was this done by reading people's cell phone data?
Texting. Sexting.
Yeah, was this in the News of the World's last issue? Or was it?
This actually comes up to a serious problem, and that's the irrelevancy of driver training in Britain and in the United States. They should have something where a guy has to drive by a bunch of mirrors looking at his car in heavy traffic, and women should have to put eye makeup on and cell phone while they're driving in traffic. And if you can do that, you get a license. I mean, I think this is the way to handle
critical
it.
training. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's make a relevant test.
Yeah. And Michelle, I like your regional inflection. Crick. It's clever.
Crick.
Well, she's in Southern California.
Yes.
She's from New
Oh,
Mexico
but I do
and Texas.
have my Cajun people.
You have your Cajun people?
I do. I'm not from California.
Well, all right.
Steve's like,
Let's just move
Speechless.
on now. So it may not be apparent to the general public, but syndicated content has a huge presence in the magazine publishing world. I experienced this act of editorial planning firsthand while holding the associate editor title at Winding Road magazine, and now a fluke of syndicated selling has led to quite an interesting newsstand site. Britain's car magazine sold the rights to its glamorous supercar comparison test to Germany's Autobild and Automobile magazine right here in the U.S., with all three publications running the exact same photo on their covers. Yikes.
I'm coming, Elizabeth.
Nevertheless, it's a great story, and now you've got 3 ways to read about McLaren's new hotness taking on the world.
I had no idea they shared
All
and
3
cared that
magazines. Well, when we were at Winding Road, when I was there, we used to get syndicated content from Evo
Okay.
every once in a while that we would publish.
But I mean, Autobild would be in German, right?
Right.
So of course
all
there could be
Germans
some
speak
translation,
English,
but
so
there
it
could be
doesn't matter.
translation errors.
But it's funny, they used the exact same photo, like the same crop of the photo. The one on car is slightly different because there's a man in there too, but it's the same picture on the cover of
Yeah, and you
Mine
know what?
knows
that
This,
magazine.
so syndicated content is nothing new. I mean, content is content is content. If it
Oh yeah,
works,
syndicated
right?
content is
So like
something.
that's one thing. I mean, we even have that. But when you don't have the art direction, like when your budget is so bad that you don't have an art director that you can actually,
But there's
get-
another possibility, and that's that the photos that get passed out, there's one that crops well for a cover.
Right, exactly.
And that's, to me, that's the problem, because you want to have enough artwork so you've got latitude in what you do. But they might have gotten a packet and they're looking at it and say, what's the cover? And they go, well, it's this one or nothing, just like
right,
Bridgestone
because,
tires.
we but when we were doing editorial planning for the magazine, there would be times where we're looking through what we have for okay, what are we doing for issue 60? And we would look at our list of stories, and the syndicated piece is the hottest story we have that month, so you want that on your cover. Yeah. So I understand how this
Trickery.
happens. It's just sort of
Surprised it hasn't been more obvious or happened more
Well, it's
frequently.
just funny that it happened to, 3 magazines all have the
And
same
big
picture.
magazines.
I think
too.
this
Yeah.
is actually indicatory. I mean, last week, Source Interlink laid off 11 of its long-term writers. I mean, people that had been there for 20 or 30 years. They're now literally just editors overseeing some of these enthusiast print magazines, and they have nothing but syndicated content now.
No, that's sad. But moving along.
But wait, we're not syndicated here.
No.
This is all
No.
1,000% original.
All of the time.
That's a low
we
estimate.
report our own news. We gather it from
We
the source,
and
the
you-
internet.
Sometimes Yeah, if it's on the interwebs,
It's fair game.
it's true.
And it's news.
And that's not
It's true.
syndication.
Yes, exactly.
It's just stealing it.
I fact check on Wikipedia.
Well, you see, now that's thorough. This man has gone the extra mile. Let there be no doubt.
1.62 kilometers.
He went journalism. Oh no, he didn't go to journalism school.
Not go to journalism school.
Get out!
Leave my presence.
All right. Well,
Bye.
keeping the show on track, on target.
Stay on
As it
target. Stay on target.
I can't hold him.
The force is strong with this one.
It's no secret today's cars are bloated with technology. Things like yaw angle sensors, adaptive cruise control, tire pressure monitors, voice activation, the list goes on and on. OEM tech companies like Microsoft and others provide the software and hardware that backs up these whiz-bang features. A day late and apparently $100 short computer giant Hewlett-Packard, or Packard, I'm not sure, is trying to get manufacturers to adopt its WebOS operating system for cars and appliances. Why a dishwasher needs touchscreen controls or a 3G connection is beyond me. But HP claims automakers can benefit from its system's familiar interface and easy-to-use controls, but OEMs, at least for now, ain't buying it. Literally. With other tech companies already dominating this sector, it's hard to imagine anyone actually putting WebOS on the road. Plus, with the lead time in the auto industry, companies will not want to switch suppliers and have to recode software and all that jazz.
If they make it free. I'm serious.
What about Android is free?
I know.
Yeah.
But Android's not trying to pursue the auto industry. But I'm saying if they made it free, you might find some companies that aren't that far up the curve in fully integrated, basically online and MMI content. They might go for it, but that's the only way it's going to work.
And exactly.
And it ain't going. They're not going to do it.
Yeah. Bob?
Well, I mean, there was a thing in the paper the other day about HP considering flinging WebOS and spinning it off. So this is interesting. That would make it appealing to a manufacturer. Yes, the people who have developed it are going to be dropping it soon. Wouldn't you like to put in your car? Hey, what a great idea. Well, I guess maybe, Saturn could use it, perhaps.
Yes.
Oh, Saab.
Oldsmobile.
Saab could use it.
Yes. They're perfect for each other.
Perfect match.
Now, Alex, up there in Microsoft country, you guys quaking in your boots over this WebOS?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Are you guys quaking in your collective boots in Redmond over this WebOS?
We've got a war room going. There's some guy with a buzz cut and a skinny tie. We're monitoring this. We're moving little pieces around on the map. It's really scary.
Didn't 30 people jump out of a window last week over this?
No, that was in an Apple factory in China.
It's gone.
No, I heard it was in Seattle.
Oh.
Yeah, but it was a first floor office, Michelle.
They stubbed their toe.
I don't get out of the office
beer.
much.
Yeah.
They block the windows off, so I can't lemming out. But
Do they give you guys like a restraining bolt they attach to your sides so you can't move?
Houdini?
Hey.
All right. Alex, you got the next story.
Yes, I do, and it's interestingly enough about a Dodge Omni goes like hell, or GLH as it's more commonly known. So we've dredged up a video, an ad made about the Omni GLH that's like some awesome 1980s half-ass version of that Toys commercial created by Nissan for the 300ZX, which you might remember, where there's a G.I. Joe look-alike that picks up kind of a Barbie-looking number, and they go for a spin in a miniaturized car. But instead of that, this looks like it's taken a detour through another equally famous ad, the Plymouth Duster MTV ad, which has been dubbed the Cocaine Factory ad by some journalist hacks that I like. And long story short, it's a kid playing with a little plastic model of an Omni GLH. Or it's just a regular Omni, and then he starts adding plastic model kit parts to it to turn it into GLH.
That's what Shelby
just like
did.
the original.
You know what? That kid has some mad spray painting skills. Are we sure this isn't Banksy as a child?
I was just going to say, I'm concerned he's not wearing a respirator.
That was cool in those days.
And not only that, if it didn't kill you.
He's got the lung scarring to prove it. Now, Stephen, I understand you're a big fan of the Omni GLH and you're active on the forums. You used to own one.
Who told you that and why?
I told Mortimer.
It's nothing to be ashamed of. We all have these hidden
We all
secrets.
make mistakes, Stephen, right?
No.
He doesn't even have a response.
I owned a Cosworth Vega.
All right.
I'm so sorry.
I'm not proud of that either.
I still own a Kia Spectra.
SPECTRE.
I had an Escort
Sputum.
CX too. Are we going down that road again?
I own a Mazda Miata, so I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get any flack from this crowd. So.
What?
What about who was it? Somebody who designed the Miata?
Doesn't matter who designed it. This man here, to my left, Jim Hall, is the uncle of the Miata. Okay, that's the most important thing. Everybody needs to know that.
I bow down. I'm not worthy.
Wow.
You know what? It's not true. I know him. You are.
You're the expert.
Maybe you should explain for our listeners why that joke was funny to the rest of us. Craigie?
What? Say again?
The Miata joke with the Halls, why that was funny?
That's funny because Mr. Bob Hall, sitting directly across from me right now, designed the original Miata.
I was just some guy working on a project. And we had the sports car program. And my argument on the sports car was it should be rear drive in a convertible instead of front drive in a coupe or mid-engined in a coupe.
So not a Ford Probe.
No. It was actually much more like we did 3 models. And one of them was dimensionally so close to the first generation MR2 that the guys doing it wanted to stop the project. Okay, and the other one looked like a kind of a, for lack of a better term, a notchback first generation CRX.
Oh, that'd be stylish as hell.
It was stylish as hell. And then we had the one we did where we actually had a roof on it, a hardtop that had a piece of tape over it. And during the presentation of the board, we lifted the top off.
So did you design it, or were you on all
If
3?
you wanted to say who designed the car, it was 2 guys. A guy named Mark Jordan, okay, who was with Mazda until very recently, and another guy named Masao Yagi. And Jordy had started probably a year before anybody else because he was the first foreign designer brought into Mazda. And Mark lived nearby me, so we would carpool. And I had this idea for this thing, and I had come up with a vehicle concept, but I had no styling to support it. So the deal I made with Mark was he'd work on it a few hours after work, and then I'd drive him home. And if not, he'd have to walk home. And
knowing Mark, he might have just taken up residence in the studio and sort of, if it got cold, he'd crawl in the clay oven.
No, we didn't have a clay oven then.
No?
No, we didn't have a clay oven.
Oh, we would have frozen it.
No, we just used a
was a
microwave.
Maytag,
We just
wasn't
used a
it?
microwave.
Yes.
But no, so I mean, I worked a lot on the concept, and the
very
biggest
cool.
problem was selling it to management in Japanese, which required, well, some photographs of certain guys going into motels and such. But it worked. It worked out pretty well in the end.
The one, the love hotels in Japan or whatever they charge by the
Yes, it
hour.
is what we call a love hotel. Yes, you can find very easy next to the exit of motorway, highway. And sometimes they have a very gorgeous name, like Lumonico, which means Lamonico, of course. And like that. Okay.
Michelle,
Yes?
I'm hurting inside.
You know what? Why don't I take you on a little bicycle ride and relax you?
Okay, thank you. Tandem bike. Okay.
Okay. You start. Is it real drive, this thing?
I'm pedaling.
All right, we're going.
Okay, thank you. Oh, so it isn't the Copenhagen wheel exactly by any means, but it could be. And that's a sad reference to the few of us that still watch Weeds. But it also isn't the Lexus hybrid bicycle that they keep rolling out when they have nothing else to show at auto shows.
It's every year, isn't it?
There is a bicycle out there that is exactly like those previous 2 inventions, only a student at Cooper Union has presented it as if it were new, adding a flywheel to the bike that saves your energy from your pedaling for later and gives you a little push. Let's say he'll graduate, but perhaps he should have resurrected how a volcano works.
Those are so cool.
Volcanoes.
I loved those
Comes out the
experiments.
top.
4th grade science fair, get the baking soda.
Vinegar, that was
that's
great.
such
Yeah.
a
Cliche.
good idea, but it's been it's been put out there for so
Wait a minute.
long, so many times.
What about the bicycle that uses the vinegar and baking soda motor? Okay, and
like
the foam
this.
drives a turbine.
Yeah.
Okay, you think about this. We're talking the biologically clean power of the future.
CO2 neutral.
Absolutely.
CO2 neutral.
Well, no, we don't know what the gas is when you mix that. It's giving us
carbon dioxide, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
We'll talk about
Would
something
it make
else.
little putt-putt noises, or would it go like...
No, the putt-putt noises are done by putting cards on the
Front spoke.
the
Yeah,
front
on
spoke,
yeah.
on the fork, and they rub across the spoke. And You
Okay.
get putt-putt noises that way.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, next up, a car that could go 1 million miles without refueling.
Must have a hell of a tank.
Yes. Well, fascinating story from the Cars.com Kicking Tires blog. A Connecticut-based company could hold the key to our future power needs. Researchers believe they've found a way to run a car for 1 million miles without refueling it, and they're doing it with nuclear physics. Now, I know what you're thinking: Hiroshima, Chernobyl, Fukushima. But the lab coat-wearing scientists believe they've got the radiation problem licked. Enter the element thorium, atomic number 90. It's an abundant substance that's apparently much safer than uranium. How do researchers think they can power a car with it? Well, not with a nuclear reactor. They plan to heat a small amount of the material with a laser beam, which would get it super hot, but not enough to start fizzling. The heat would in turn be used to boil water in a closed system to make steam, which obviously in turn would run a turbine, and then you could run a generator off of that. Pretty simple and apparently pretty safe. All that's needed is a stainless steel box with 3-inch thick walls to contain the tiny amounts of radiation emitted by the superheated thorium. Why aren't we using this element right now? Well, steps need to be taken to miniaturize the powertrain system, and work has to be done to make it easier and cheaper.
Time. Okay. What powers the laser?
I'm assuming the generator.
No, but if it's not on,
And the car.
Leave it running constantly. How about that?
no. But how do you start it the first time?
Battery? These are questions they have to iron out.
I don't want to know about these questions. I'm an
It's a
inventor.
perpetual motion machine.
You know, I'm sorry. This gets me back to thinking that the baking soda and
That's
the
looking pretty
vinegar
good.
is looking
I
better.
like this.
Because what you could put the baking soda and you could put it in a half-inch thick stainless steel box, so it'd be lighter just to begin with, right?
Yeah.
Wait, that's how you power the laser, the baking soda.
Oh, it's a
Baking
baking
soda.
soda laser.
That's how it
That's-
is.
hey,
It's a baking
Alex,
soda
wasn't
ionizing
that one that the
laser.
Russians were planning as the defense against the Star Wars system? It's high tech.
yes.
Yeah, something like that. We will produce a baking soda laser. The Americans cannot possibly put up
Very
any
well.
defense for it.
I think they were actually planning on seeding the clouds with baking soda and vinegar.
And then firing a laser through it.
If my eyes are
Isn't that some-
burning.
Don't they use like a silver dioxide or something for that? Am I wrong?
Silver-
Cloud
no,
seeding, yes.
Silver iodide.
Iodide. That's
Yeah.
it.
And so if you have a cut, you just put your hand in it.
In the
my
clouds.
mom's.
Yeah, in the clouds. Yeah,
Yes,
that's very
yes,
good.
yes. So what do the Hall brothers know about this thorium? This legendary thorium?
Thorium. There is a lot of work. There's a lot of work, believe it or not, on thorium nuclear reactors. A huge amount of work being done because it doesn't have the nuclear waste problem that uranium has. Okay, I mean it's serious stuff. But they talk about how safe it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jim. Didn't Crancor's leader?
Yes, Phantom Crankor was going to use
He used
thorium bombs.
Yeah, the Phantom dictator of Crankor from the famous film Prince of Space, which I'm sure everybody knows, if nothing else, through
Clearly.
Mystery Science Theater 3000. Obviously, that portion of it was based in fact, because they knew.
Yeah, right, Bob.
No, but there is thorium reactors are under study right now. But if the big ones, which are what the size of a regular nuclear reactor, if they're a few ways down the pike, I think it's going to be. I mean, where's my DeSoto Cella? Remember the nuclear-powered DeSoto?
You stay medium priced, my friend.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
That's an inside joke. Yes.
Hey, what happened?
I don't know.
You know, I got to tell you,
Good question.
the thorium car, it does concern me because whenever anybody says the radiation is safe,
Why
all
is
right?
it in a 3-inch?
Yeah.
First of all, why is it in a box that's got 3 inches?
And plus, is it a car that if you drive it for like 3 or 4 weeks straight, you come home and suddenly you realize that your hair is falling out in bloody clumps and your gums are bleeding?
It
Okay.
can't be worse than radium water.
No.
No, but isn't any
hey,
better?
A million miles. Now let's throw up a couple of things here. Let's not throw up. Let's throw out a few things here. I'll throw
But
some up
after you've been
like-
exposed to
Better
the thorium, you
proposition.
maybe
Maybe
Yeah.
it's throwing up.
thorium milkshake. Okay. No, but a
God.
million miles. Okay. First of all, what's this going to do to the warranty business? Those guys that sell the aftermarket warranties, they're out of business. They're finished, right? Or
And what about the aftermarket throttle spacer business?
No,
eBay out of business.
yeah, exactly. Now, also, if you own a car a million miles, how many years is that? You're going to get pretty tired of it. Okay.
Well, let's
You
not
don't
even
have
talk
to
about
keep
that.
it that long.
You know, you think about this. The box is what? The 3-inch box. What's it made out of?
Stainless steel.
Okay, and you're in a car that's going to do a million miles. And let's say you live, for the sake of argument, in southeastern Michigan, where the roads are salted with
Wait a minute,
sulfuric
hold on.
acid.
3 inches stainless steel lasts about 4 years. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, plus the car is going to rust away. I mean, oh well.
But
You know,
the whole time, okay, so the car is rots away, but the whole time you drive it, you never have to fuel it.
now, how much thorium does it take? A
It
pound?
doesn't say.
Okay. 2 pounds?
Unobtainium, yes. Well, for sake of argument, we'll say 1 gram.
we better say more than that for a reaction. Okay.
It's a safe limit.
Okay, but let's,
Safe
for the
estimate.
sake of argument, but anybody here want to like look at a metals exchange and see what a pound of thorium's going to cost us?
Hang on, I'll check online here.
Well, as I
I
said,
have
that's-
sources.
No, I'm just thorium is us. Thorium are us. That's right here.
Thorium RS.
Yeah, the radioactive metals exchange.
all right. Well, something that might be a little more realistic,
Hey,
Stephen.
this is the Terhan. This is the Terhan page of the radioactive metals exchange. How'd that come out here? Oh well, sorry.
Something a little more likely to happen in our lifetime, Stephen.
Okay.
Or
I
not.
mean, no, I
Tell
hope
it-
not.
tell
God,
us
I
what's
hope
going
not. All right, so recently BMW made all of our heads spin when it released images of this M3 turned pickup truck, created as a special one-off edition. And we know the Germans would never do something as crazy as turn an M3 into a proper Ute, but now Audi's kind of joining in on the fun, and it's created a Q7 pickup. As you would expect, the rear passenger and cargo compartments have been lobbed off of the big German crossover, and the end result is something that will make you laugh and cry at the same time. Mostly cry. But if this is going to be a continuing trend, all we have to say is, Porsche, we're ready for our Panamera Mino now.
That's a funny.
This thing is so...
Wrong.
Stop it.
The truck
Yeah,
fat is spreading.
it.
The M3 pickup
kill it
was...
with fire.
Now hang on,
Yeah,
hang on.
the
Wait a
M3
minute.
pickup was funny.
There's a marketing possibility here, and people would probably think this is a better use. What about a Maybach pickup truck?
They have the Landaulet
They do have
already.
the Landaulet.
They're part of the way there. They're
Yes.
part of the way. And again, would it hurt the car any? No, not at all.
Can't be any
They
uglier.
might sell more in Texas.
Yes.
And if Jay-Z and Kanye West were to slice one up with a torch, I don't think anyone would be upset. I think they'd be very happy about that.
Now, don't they call that a mercy killing sometimes?
Yes.
All right. Michelle, I think you are up next. Take it away.
I am. I see two Stevens, by the way. Oh, never mind. Okay, in the great tradition of bridges to span oceans and not just rivers, the Oresbund Bridge connecting Sweden and Norway allows ships to pass with ease.
Yeah, yeah.
Only, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Only if a drawbridge is upsetting your weak. Is only
Huh?
if a drawbridge is upsetting to your weak constitution,
Let's
like it
start
is
again.
to Craigie. Sorry, I got screwed up because somebody interrupted me.
Yo.
Let's take it back.
All right, Michelle, start from the top.
All right.
In the great tradition of bridges to span oceans and not just rivers, the Oresbund Bridge connecting Sweden to Norway allows ships to pass with ease. But if a drawbridge is upsetting to your weak constitution like it is to Craigie's, this bridge might turn your socks even a little tighter as it sinks to allows the ships to cross. And Craigie is being sick in the corner as we speak. I think this picture...
That's not the corner, it's the table here.
Who's this Ralph you're calling, Craig?
It's lunch.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, it's funny that you're talking about vomiting and puking because that's sort of what comes to mind with what I'm about to talk about next.
Oh, what is that?
Well, as you may know, there are a few things in this world that I hate more than the Smart for Two.
And I had
No.
defend that
Amen,
SOB
brother.
No,
last
it is
Preach it.
ugly,
Preach it.
impractical, horrible to drive, and surprisingly inefficient for its size. This sort of car might work in Europe, but in the States, it's just a huge pile of,
That's my sound effect.
Still, there are people out there who lack things like common sense and proper reasoning, and the Smart has sold to a few unlucky idiots. What's worse, though,
They're
is
handicapped.
that people have taken to customizing the damn things, and our friends at Car Scoop have recently showed us one example. One of their readers spotted a Smart for Two all gussied up with the Brabus treatment, SLR McLaren-inspired nose decals, and, wait for it, LED lights around the custom tailpipes. I'd love to tell you more about this, but I need to go stab my eyes out.
Give him a bag. You know what's
You know
interesting
what?
is
the
that
thing is every year they produce so many of these things for SEMA. Somebody's got to be driving them around,
no,
right?
I think a lot of those are cars without VINs. They scrap them right after the show, and
Oh.
some of
Really?
them.
I
Well,
love the idea of a giant group of Smart for Twos just being crushed or set on fire.
Oh
or
This is
God,
gonna be a
something.
isn't it
SEMA stand.
delightful?
God.
but you know, the truth is, the Smart is not the most inappropriately named car that's ever been sold in America. It's the second most inappropriately named car.
the first
Probe?
being-
No, the Ford Aspire.
yes.
Because the truth is, you got one and you aspired to get the heck out of it, okay? The thing with the Smart that gets me is that I don't know if you realize this. The cars that go to SEMA they don't have any VINs in them, so they get scrapped afterwards.
Right.
But they had VINs where they weren't imported, and the guys at Smart would cut the VINs out so they could go scrap the cars.
Nice.
That's a joke. It's not really true.
I wish it were.
I think, but didn't they've scrapped Smart of America? Oh no, that's another story.
When I was living in Australia and they launched the Smart, they had a Brabus model available, and I just about died. All of us are going like, first of all, Brabus they voluntarily did this.
Yeah.
I mean, they must have really been desperate to be taken over by Mercedes, and then Mercedes didn't take them over. So what can you say?
Darn. Well, Alex, you've got our last story here, so why don't you take it away?
Ooh, and it's a good one because
You know what that noise means, of course.
What does it mean, Ben?
It's a RoAb non sequitur because it doesn't have anything to do with the car.
no, but it has
Doesn't have
everything to do with
anything-
a tiny jet, and we all love tiny jets, right?
Of course.
Is it born?
Like
Yes,
small
we
hands and
all
smelling
love
like
tiny
cabbage, right?
jets. Okay, now that that's established, so this is a tiny home-built jet. I'm fascinated by the idea of tiny turbojets, and Autopia's got the scoop on the Sonex Subsonex, cleverly named or too cleverly by Halfly named kit plane that kind of looks like a Messerschmitt Me-163, Comet's dorky little brother.
The mouth breather.
It is a mouth breather because it's okay. And it doesn't sound like that actually. It sounds like a legitimate jet airplane
Just size challenged.
because even though it weighs only 45 pounds, the engine, not the whole plane, it puts out almost 250 pounds of thrust.
I'll show you 250. Never mind.
Its little back legs look like desk chair, like rollers.
This reminds me
Yeah,
of
they-
that plane that the guy was working on in Africa, out of literally garbage
That's
that we had a few months back.
It will fly
Are you talking
sometime.
about District 9?
It will fly.
Oh yes. So could the guy build the engine in his home or something?
Probably in the
it's
basement.
actually-
You know, a lot of these things start out as end tables. You're starting to do something just in the shop, and
Get out of hand.
it gets out of hand. And before you know it, you've got a mini jet.
Wow.
Well, actually, the jet part of it comes from the Czech Republic, known for their miniaturized jet engines. Not really. They're really known for Tatras, but I think it's still pretty cool that they're making a tiny jet. And you know what I think the best use for this thing would be? My theory is a miniaturized Chrysler turbine car.
Sounded good to
replica,
me.
But,
Like a caliber.
but that's what I would do with it. I'm a car guy, not a plane guy. So what can I say? But it's pretty cool.
You want to know the truth? A turbine engine that small would make a spectacular generator for a hybrid or for a
range extender.
A range
Yeah.
extender.
But
You'd-
it would be a great one.
You'd run it
seriously.
at constant speed. You'd put it in a recuperator so it'd use the exhaust heat to heat the intake air, makes the engine more efficient. That baby could be tiny and make 200 pounds of thrust.
Yeah, that'd be no because
Wow.
250 out of 45 pounds.
Yeah, that would be
an
one
excellent-
heck of a range
It
extender.
really would. It genuinely would.
Now,
Good
what
idea.
if you could feed that hot exhaust gas into a diesel engine like they used to do in Britain for locomotive?
Yeah, but
you
look,
heard
look
about
what
that?
look what that did the British railway system. Come on.
Did that have effect on the British auto industry too? And
The British. I mean,
Britain.
The thing is, think
Yeah.
Britain blank
Britain.
industry.
Auto.
It will self-destruct.
it
Okay.
doesn't matter what it is. Yeah.
It does, I can see what you mean. The resemblance to the 163 Comet, the Messerschmitt.
Which was not a jet. In fact, it was a
rocket.
rocket.
It was a rocket.
Yes,
Did
sir.
not have an elevator at the back either.
It didn't need
Had
it.
a vertical stabilizer and a swept wing.
You could almost argue it was a flying wing with a real stubby fuselage.
The worst thing about the Comet was if a pilot had to bring it back and it still had fuel in it, they didn't like that.
It didn't have landing gear. It had a skid.
That's landing gear. That's landing gear. Remember, first of all, there's in aircraft there is a phrase that is absolutely wrong. They say the airplane had to make a forced landing. You do not have to force an airplane to land. They will all land eventually.
They all want to land, definitely.
Forced
That
landing, yeah,
airplane
right.
looks like it has bar stool legs.
Actually, it'd be cool if you flew it from a bar stool. Wouldn't that be neat?
Yeah.
See, now
Yeah,
there's
just those-
Did he bolted
Hey,
down?
wait a minute. What if the
Hopefully.
pilot
Yeah,
sat on a
hopefully.
bar
All right.
stool?
No, I
Okay,
feel like it's
guys,
better
on
not
this-
attached to anything. So you're just sort of.
This is a non-automotive thing. We're talking the most about it. What the hell's going on here?
And on that note, we're going to move on. We're going to take a quick break here. A brief intermission, if you will, but we will continue our lively chat. Alex Kierstein, Hooniverse.com, Stephen J. Ewing, Autoblog,
Yes.
Michelle Naranjo, Autobytel, managing editor, no less. Plus, the Super Hall brothers. So stick around because we've got a great stupid car trick to share and another riveting installment of Versus, so don't miss it. Hang on. Get into the ad right here. So, Now I would like to plug our good friends at Advance Auto Parts. If you visit our website, roundaboutshow.com, there's an opportunity, a great opportunity for you to save some major moolah. If you look in the right-hand sidebar of the page, there's a lovely little Advance Auto Parts ad you can click on, and you can save some big coin. If you place an order with Advance for... Why is it $10?
Some amount of
yeah.
money.
Just a close amount. No. If you spend $30 at Advance, you get $10 off. Spend $50, you'll take $20 off that bill. Spend $100, they'll just with a samurai sword, katana, to slice $30 off the top of that bill. Ow, ow, indeed. It's a very sharp blade, Ben. So, again, that's 10 off 30, 20 off 50, or 30 off of 100. And it's very important, if you want to get these big savings, you have to go to our website, roundaboutshow.com, and click through on the ad we have in the right-hand sidebar of the page. I've taken advantage of this several times. You should, too.
My father has twice.
Wow.
Free shipping. Did you already say free
I have
shipping?
not gotten there yet.
Oh, sorry.
If you
I'm just getting so excited
I
about
know,
these guys who
seriously,
are
the best.
ready in advance.
Service is their best part. That's got to be a sound drop, too. If you spend $75, you qualify for free shipping. You can have the parts dropped off at your door, at your office if you want.
What if I spend $100?
You still get free shipping.
But I get $30 off
Yes,
also.
you do.
So you're basically stacking savings upon savings.
And you're building that foundation of customer satisfaction on top of the strongest foundation, savings.
The castle
The
of
bedrock.
savings.
Yes. So, click on Advance. Help us out. Help them out. They're great. You can also pick your stuff up in store if you don't want it delivered. So, whatever works best for you.
Could you have it delivered to another store
I'm sure
and
you
pick it up there?
You probably could.
Okay.
Yes. So, Advance Auto Parts, we thank them for their support of Roundabout.
Indeed we do.
And now you must brace for impact, assume the crash position, lean on that seat in front of you, because it's time for Stupid Truck Trick.
Go on, boy. Go get it. Come on now.
For it.
There it
All
is.
right, so Ford versus Chevrolet classic battle, classic rivalry. We've got a great video we found on Autoblog that is posted on YouTube, and it is a tug of war between presumably two friends. One is driving a very highly lifted
All
Ford
I'm going to
F-150.
say about this video is that the one thing that will give it away is that the person who's like waving his hand down saying like "Go now" is not wearing a shirt.
Exactly. So they've hooked up these two trucks, a heavily modified Ford, heavily modified Chevy. These are both lifted. They look like monster trucks. They're pulling on a tether, I guess, that is hooked to the rear bumpers of each of them. And the Ford pulls the Chevy. The bed starts to bend right after the cab, pulls the Chevy back. The thing just collapses. The axle rips off. And then, adding insult to injury, it rolls on the roof.
Well, you know,
It's just a confluence of
you
bad.
can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. Today.
The phrase of the day. Bob. Listen to those V8 engines.
Well, sounds great.
You know the most embarrassing part of all what they learned later? The guy with a Ford had a Chevy engine in it.
He probably did. It's just the carnage. You have to go to our website, roundaboutshow.com.
What's that
Click on the
again?
link, roundaboutshow.com.
Oh,
Click
okay.
on the link in the show notes. Watch this. You will laugh. Hopefully the guy in the Chevy truck wasn't hurt when it rolled over. And
He was able to laugh afterwards.
Yes, exactly.
I wonder if he actually. bolted
Somebody
it.
bought him a beer.
I wonder how
yeah.
he reported it to his insurance company.
Probably didn't have insurance,
Michelle,
Jim.
Michelle, you mean another beer?
Exactly. They gave him another Bud Light.
Yeah, there's no insurance company to report to, so I wouldn't worry about
I
it.
am self-insured.
Have any of you guys seen carnage
I don't
like
need
this?
any government insurance.
I've seen Carnage, but this actually is unique unto itself. It is unique in all the world.
Yes, I think. Oh. Yeah, so that is our stupid truck trick of the week.
Very good.
Very good. So moving along, it is time for our next and final segment.
I believe it is versus.
So as you know, that is if you are a regular listener to the Roundabout podcast.
As all you are.
You should be. In this game, two panelists debate the merits and demerits of one particular vehicle. The other two pick a winner. Now, we have more than 4 participants this week, so we're going to do a little finagling. But
Here's what we're going to do. Because we've
explain,
got
Ben.
the Super Hall brothers on.
Doot, 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 doot.
Yes. Sound drop. except that my music's overlapping it. That won't be any good. I'll tag it anyway. So normally we would pick names at random. One person would be a pro, one person would be a con. This time we're going to pit Hall versus Hall.
Oh my gosh.
Who saw that one coming?
That way it surprised me.
Not me at all.
I didn't know they were going to do that. Did you?
Not at
I am
all.
so
Michelle,
surprised.
did you know they were going to do that?
I had an inkling.
Really? Alex, how about you?
I was completely ignorant of that
Go.
fact.
I'm glad I'm not the only person.
Well, darn it.
golly gee.
So it'll be Hall versus Hall with a triumvirate of judges, and they'll have to do their best to convince
Wouldn't
us,
it be a
right?
quadumvirate?
But you realize, of course,
Quinn,
I'm not a
number.
judge.
No, Alex.
Oh,
Yeah.
Alex, I'm good at
Duh.
counting.
Yes.
Quadumvirate, in fact.
How many toes am I holding up?
I'm sort of like half a judge.
30.
Michelle
the
is
only
good.
way we can do this, Hall Brothers, is
Yes, ma'am.
because this is a time-limited exercise.
Oh, easy.
No problem.
You have 1 minute to make your argument each, and then a 15-second rebuttal round.
Okay.
Did you guys serve on debate team together?
Bob didn't. I'm sorry.
Huh? What's a debate?
Bob, you know these tests you had in high school to figure out what you should do? Bob said that you should either be a lawyer or a shepherd.
Where did natural sausage casing maker come into the list?
Neither one of us. I
okay.
think that was Craig Newswanger, wasn't
Craig
it?
Newswanger. Oh, and it was during Vietnam where we were all be good for military service. Any
That's right.
male.
Yeah.
Didn't matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'd be good for military service.
Military.
Cool.
All right, Ben, who's going to be pro?
Here's
Why
how
don't we
Jim-
get that assigned to us before we hear the car?
We're going to
Will be,
randomize
will
it
be.
here. Ben is
We
going
are.
to
We are
Is the
random.gov.
computer going to pick for you, Ben?
Actually, random.org is going to pick for us.
I know of random.org.
Okay.
And Mirko
So-
in the chat, just so we know, get you guys pumped. Mirko in the chat is screaming in capital letters versus with an exclamation point.
Yes.
He is excited.
Okay,
Psyched.
Mirko, this is for you.
This is for you. All right. We're going to pick pro first.
Okay.
That
pro
will
goes
determine
first.
con. So, Jim, pick a number between 1 and 100.
73.
Does that have to be a real number?
Why don't we just have someone assign them a pro and a con?
It's low tech.
I feel like that would be a much simpler way
How
of
running out of
doing
time?
this.
Jim-
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Jim
Because
is
we
even.
pay for the leasing of the Roundabout Show master computer, we have to use it.
Oh, right. You-
James, to my
I-
right.
I'll be even.
even.
Bob will be odd, which is very appropriate.
Okay, fair enough.
I disagree. Vehemently.
All right, I'm going to generate a random number between 1 and 100.
And it is 73.
It is 49.
Odd.
So who's odd?
Bob is odd.
You're pro.
Bob is pro.
You have to defend whatever cars here. These are also going to be Dream Cruise themed cars.
Ooh.
So American classics.
Wait, can we get that
That
ooh
as a
together
sound drop?
again?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And
Ooh.
very good, Mark.
Now
was
do it
really
again
good.
without the arousal, Bob.
You notice the table's uneven, right? I see.
It's
Let me
listing.
sit back a bit. All
Yes.
right, a couple of feet back.
Thank God this is a middle school show.
Yes, that's right. Let's
Bringing a voice of reason.
Do your homework.
Yes. All right. Okay.
I
So
don't want to.
Bob is pro. Jim is
It's an
con.
amateur. Oh, a convict. Yes.
Artist, yes. Con Film Festival. We've Genghis Khan. We've done them all.
Yes, we
All
have.
right. So
Con-
Ben, what is our
Con-
first vehicle this week?
All right. And Pro will go
Is
first.
there something we need to look here in the computer? Or?
No.
I have pasted links, in fact. So you may now look at pick number 1, which is the 1958 Edsel Corsair, I should say. And Bob, as pro, I command you to start.
Ah, Edsel Corsair. It was the premier Edsel vehicle. There were two ranges of Edsel. They were what they called EFs, which were based on Fords, and EMs, which were based on Mercurys. The Corsair and the Citation were based on the Mercury. The Corsair, the Citation was the absolute ne plus ultra. It had little things stuck in the cove on the side that couldn't be pried out. The Corsair had the more clean and tasteful look about it, okay? And it was available in a number of colors. For example, one of my all-time favorite colors for this was it was available in I think it was called sand pink and white. And if you had a hard top, you could get 3 colors: separate color for the roof, okay, separate color for the body, and for the cove on the back. And the other thing I liked about it is that The Edsel was absolutely despised by Robert S. McNamara, so I like it. Okay, that makes
10
it
seconds
good.
left.
10 seconds left. Buy an Edsel at your local dealer today.
My turn.
Oh my God, what's that? Oh, jeez, you shouldn't put that on my chair.
Jim, you get 15 seconds of
No,
rebuttal.
No, first he's
oh,
gonna,
that's right. He gets a minute.
First, you've got a minute to tell us why this
disparage.
is.
Right.
Oh,
Now, first of all, you have to
just
imagine that it's Captain Kirk saying this. Con! Okay. You haven't heard that one, I'll bet. Okay, now, first of all, the first thing against it is it's available in a 3-tone. All right? No one with a sense of with rods and cones in the right percentage wants to have a 3-tone car, period. Second, because it's a Corsair, it isn't the top of the line, so you're getting an Edsel, but it's like kissing your sister. This is not the one you really want if you want a Mercury-bodied Edsel. You want a Citation. You also want it because it has golden aluminum house siding in the cove, okay, which is really the ne plus ultra, not ne plus ultra. The other thing is, these cars had something called Teletouch push-button automatic transmission, where the buttons were in the middle of the fixed hub of the steering wheel. The early cars, they routed the electric cable because it was the first electrically shifted automatic. The first ones were routed by the exhaust manifold on the driver's side, where invariably the insulation would burn out, the car would short, and go into non-drive. Why would you want a car like that when in 1958 you could get something really special?
All right. Bob, you now have a 15-second rebuttal round, and that round starts now.
Okay, so you don't have the golden house siding. I'm not Chinese. I couldn't care less about golden, okay? And Teletouch drive, it was not the first. The first was the Packard Ultramatic, which had the little thing that sprung out from the string, and they had electrical problems too. So Edsel, it made it like a foreign car. It made it like an English car. It had electrical problems.
Your time is expired. Jim, you now have 15 seconds.
That was so good.
That was so good.
Double rebut.
Rebut.
Edsels in general have a problem. They promised the future it should have had a bubble top and it had a 3-tone roof. You're out of your mind to buy a car like that.
At your local Edsel dealer today.
Mercury Edsel Lincoln dealer.
Oh, God.
That's what it ended up as, yeah.
All right, judges, we got to.
Now judges, we
Round
don't
one
want
is
you to
done.
spill the beans here, but just tell us what you're thinking. What are your impressions? We'll start with Steven.
I've got to say that the 3-tone thing really speaks to me as
But which?
it is horrible. Because when I thought to myself of like, are there any vehicles today that you could get in any sort of like 3-tone package? And the only thing that came to my mind was the Smart 4 2.
Ooh.
And thus, I mean, if I can make that link in my head, I want to set it on fire.
I'd like to remind you that a Smart 42 would fit
Shut up,
in
we're
the-
not supposed to
no,
talk
would,
about
would
this.
fit in
No,
the
no.
trunk of an Edsel, okay?
Keep your yappers shut, boys.
I think Bob took some heavy damage on this one.
I
No, I'm not so certain.
My
Jim,
spleen
I
hurts.
Ben, I would not be so quick to disparage him because
What is your impression?
I like colors. I can see a few of them.
You're wearing
And
a
I
white
appre-
shirt.
and I appreciate.
How can you like colors?
You're wearing
He
black
owns a
and white.
salmon shirt. Don't.
Oh, he does on a
The-
salmon
a
shirt.
salmon color, much like what I'm sure was available on
Sand
the Edsel.
pink.
No, the
No,
salmon
you-
was Sunset Coral, only available on the Ford-based cars, the Ranger and the Pacer.
There, you know what, Stephen? You're wrong. There's actually, I mean, the 500 has a bunch of color packages going
Right,
on.
but the
You can
500 is
sort of, like-
cute.
right, but it's it does have
Tabletop.
color packages going on. So
You
it's
have
not just
color
the Smart 4 2.
packages
You are
going on.
incorrect.
You have
Okay, Alex, any thoughts?
thanks, Michelle.
You're
I wa-
welcome.
I want to give Bob some props for the stoic defense of like a really tough to defend vehicle. So I
just
don't want to
love
make
sound.
I don't want to make a final verdict yet, but
Yeah, that's fine.
I
That's
will
fine.
say,
We've got 3
I
more
will
rounds.
say it was sort of reminiscent of a few shows ago. Jeff Ross, bless his heart, defending the Murano Cross Cabriolet.
You mean what about 2 episodes ago where I had to defend the Smart 4 2?
He lost.
Yes, I
But
did.
to be fair,
By a narrow-
Jeff actually won, if I remember correctly,
Defending the Murano.
won defending the Murano,
It's
whereas
an
Yes, he did.
argument, not the
you
product.
lost defending the Smart because, I mean...
There's no way you can get over the product of the Smart. That's a problem.
Well, okay. Moving along. What
Number
is
2.
Round 2. It's time for round 2.
All right,
What is our
round
vehicle?
2. This time we will start with Con. That would be Jim.
The
And
wrap-up.
number 2 is the what did I say it was?
The 1950 Studebaker Champion.
Yes,
Commander.
The link is
Commander.
for a commander.
Commander. And you may start when you hear the bell. Wait for it. There we go.
This is Raymond Loewy at his finest, a man that didn't really design it but took credit for it. And what else would you want to take credit for than a car influenced by the jet aircraft that made America the country that ran the Soviet Union into the ground?
You're Khan, by the way.
I'm Khan.
I'm writing this all down.
It's the Naranjo defense. It's the Naranjo defense. Keep going.
Turn it around. Turn it around.
I can do that.
30
But that said, the Studebaker didn't perform like a jet plane. It was a wheezy, anemic vehicle. You'd have to be blind to live with the product, and most importantly, because it was a Studebaker, remember that it was engineered like a Conestoga wagon. Oh, Studebaker built the Conestoga wagons. But it was a Conestoga wagon that looked like a jet plane. If you want that, you need your head examined.
All right.
Done
15
with
seconds
time to spare. Time to spare.
All right, this time it's time for our pro, and I think he's got a head start.
Yeah, here we go. This car designed by Raymond Loewy, who took credit for designing things he didn't do, were designed after a jet. Did I get that right, Jim? Oh, no. Okay, sorry. I mean, it's Studebaker. Studebaker was the oldest vehicle company on the entire continent, okay? This was available with the wraparound rear window. When it was launched, people couldn't tell what the front or the back was. So by putting the schnoz on it, suddenly you knew where the front was. It was the jet intake. They were also waiting for the small 45-pound, 240-pound thrust engine. It just wasn't available, okay? They were all ready to put it in, but they couldn't get it in time. And you could carry dogs in it, okay? The car you could load with pups. It would be great. Everybody would want one. No, it was a Studebaker. I mean, they were the best paid people in the industry. The Studebaker workers were great. The plant had a dirt floor in sections in 1950. What more could you possibly have? It was crafted. It was crafted as a proper car. It was a Ford for the price of a Buick. What more could you ask for?
5 seconds to spare. All right. Now we go to our rebuttal round.
Like motorcycle.
This time it's Jim.
15
and
seconds.
I just want to remind Jim. Khan.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Khan!
Khan! All right. Yes, it will carry dogs, but the vehicle is a dog. But you have to be blind to own the car. And the other thing is you could do incredible damage to anyone in a crossing because that turbine nose would simply skewer people. It's horrible. Oh, the humanity. I can't go on.
Is it turbine or turbine?
Yes.
It would depend if it's on your head
Certainly.
It is.
or if
Okay.
it's moving you.
All right, next. Okay, we got Bob, your turn to rebut.
It is your turn to rebut.
15 seconds, Bob.
Right. Look, Studebaker, proven car, proven brand. What were they killed by? They were killed by moving to Canada. The Canadians killed the brand. Everybody thought they could die because this is a great car. And the turbine engine, if somebody's stupid enough to walk in front of you, I like the idea it could drill into them. Should have a little screw on it.
Bob, we're supposed to be judged by the argument.
Yeah? What's your point?
All right, judges. I'm going to start with Michelle this time. What was your impression of
Michelle, did
this
I mention
round?
how really beautiful you look today?
I apologize, you guys, for the dogs.
What dogs?
I got a UPS package on the front.
You
porch.
get your dogs via UPS? That is the
Oh, that's
coolest.
cool.
That is cool.
What's the web address? I want a couple. I want a hounds.com. Is that it?
Yeah, you don't want these hounds.
No. They put holes in the boxes? So they can breathe?
You know, I think
give 'em a
both of
bag
your
of air,
arguments
like fish.
were, Bob, you kind of managed to turn it around there, but
I
it's
should have
hard to
mentioned the
remember during
screw.
this game that it really is an exercise about being full of,
that sound effect I won't play?
yeah.
But that is her sound effect.
It
True.
is why.
She recorded it on the toilet at the train station.
Class
No,
class
I-
3?
Class 6, I think.
I've never heard the sound, so I don't know.
I was pretty impressed. You took the Naranjo defense, first pioneered by Michelle a few weeks back, by starting out on the opposite side.
I did that to destabilize my opponent.
I know. It was
Absolutely.
It catches them off guard.
It's
the
used
Naran-
on the car lot all the time.
the Naranjo defense, yes. Alex, what did you think about this round, round 2?
Oh, like the Studebaker isn't sure whether it's coming or going. I don't know which way the wind is blowing on this one yet. I'm going to demur.
I enjoyed Detective Packard.
Oh my gosh, Steven, any thoughts, or are you done here?
I don't know, but I did particularly love the argument of being able to drill into people.
It's stupid enough to walk
Yeah.
into.
Exactly.
Yes.
I like that.
All right, Ben, I think it's time for round 3.
I believe it is time for round 3. This time we will start once again with Pro, And number 3 is the 1934 Chrysler Airflow. When you hear my bell, get ready to go, and you will have 1 minute.
The Airflow was a technical advance upon any car ever built. All cars built since the Airflow have been copies of it to some form or another. Okay, because the passengers are seated within the wheelbase instead of being placed. And everybody see the Airflow styling. The Airflow styling was not the big deal. It gave it that luxury car ride, the floating ride. Okay, I mean Buick couldn't have existed without that, and they had to learn it well and truly from Chrysler. And it was unique. It was. You could see it a mile away coming, so you could run away. Well, it'd be good to hit by it because of the curved bonnet without the little pointer to skewer you. You could bounce over it. It was so fast, but you could slide back down the back. No, it was a huge step forward because of the ride issue, and that gets lost in the fact that it was so controversially styled.
All right. With more than 15 seconds to go, that was Bob's take on the Chrysler Airflow.
34.
The 1934 Chrysler Airflow. Yes, thank you. So when you hear my bell, it'll be time for Con.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
The 1935 Airflow is the weak. 1934 Airflow, same thing, is
How was
actually
35?
It's the weak sister. It really is. It doesn't cut the mustard. Now a DeSoto Airflow, that is the Airflow in its truest form. Absolutely. It's beautiful in the front. It's spectacular in the rear. Most importantly, it was properly sized. Unlike the incredibly obsequious and huge and disgusting Chrysler Airflows, it was sized right. The Chrysler Airflow is really for someone who is suffering from perhaps pustules on the forward lobes of their brain. And it was pretty obvious. The car didn't survive because there were not enough people that had pustules on their brain to buy it. And the truth is, the Chrysler Airflow lived in the shadow of the spectacular DeSoto Airflow.
Interesting tact there, but
Indeed.
Jim Hall is done with time to spare.
And now it is time for Bob's rebuttal round. When you hear my bell, you will have 15 seconds.
Of course, I will accept that the DeSoto Airflow was much easier to park, okay? But to make use of the long wheelbase, okay, seated within the wheelbase, there was the Airflow Imperial that was even bigger. And as we all know, size does matter, okay?
Right on the nose.
Right on the money. Jim Hall, it's time for your rebuttal round.
All I can say is Bob's argument brings to mind something that Bob, when he was young, had polio, then he suffered from measles, and now smallpox.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear.
Which middle school are we at tonight? Is this the one out on 13 Mile I saw?
I went to Powell Middle School, or PMS.
I'm familiar with that. My wife reminded me.
All right,
Just
so
joking, Karen.
that was round 3, Chrysler Airflow. Judges? Alex, let's start with you. I have a feeling you're going to be pretty middle of the road, but thoughts?
I am not middle of the road at all on this one. I think Jim's got this one squared away because everyone knows that the best offense is a good DeSoto.
One moment. I have just looked. He is one of the members. He is the leader of the DeSoto Owners Club in Washington, in the Seattle area, SeaTac area. I just saw it here, the website.
That's the tissue of lies. Bob will have to lie his way out of this.
Stephen, your thoughts on this matter?
I've got to go with the DeSoto argument here. I have to.
Okay.
You've got to love a DeSoto.
You're tipping to
You've
Jim.
got to love a DeSoto.
Stay medium priced, my friend. And
I
Michelle.
don't know. People with pustules on their brain, though, puts me off. I'm going to go with Bob here.
Thank you, Michelle. When I see you in California next week, I'll bring your money. Would you like that? Would you like that in cash, or can I send you a check payable to the?
I'm actually in Detroit next week, so.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll worry about it later. Jim will pay you.
All right, so those are our 3 rounds, folks. But we've got a bonus round.
We do have a bonus round. We don't normally do a bonus round, but, hey, we couldn't resist. So
It's super special.
yeah, this is now our bonus round sound effect. That
Wow, that's
doesn't.
great.
It's super special.
This is now our bonus round sound effect.
No,
In addition to the
that's not
roundabout.
level up. You can't dual purpose the sound effects.
Well,
That's
some
true.
of us,
They're gonna lose their meaning. How
Well.
dare you?
perhaps.
Thanks
It's like saying
thanks
1
for
for
that.
yes and 2 for no,
ruining
or
everything,
2
Ben.
for no, or 2 for
Right.
yes. Yeah.
Major damage, Ben.
Yeah.
Now he's
Jeez.
having a seated seizure.
Is that a comfort stroke that time?
No, that's a different. A seated
That was
seizure is a problem.
Very upset.
He could be Ray Charles. And
You Charles out.
Charles and out. Anyway.
Do that with something tastes real good.
Yes. Okay, so what is our bonus round vehicle this evening, Ben?
It is the Stout Scarab. I told Jim he would hear this vehicle at a time later in our show, and indeed, he did.
I had no idea I would have to be against the Stout Scarab.
Indeed you will. So...
Remember, Bob.
You're my brother.
And of course, in all versus bonus rounds, you only have 30 seconds
For everything.
to make your argument. You still have a rebuttal round.
What
Hey, Ben,
year is
what's
this?
the winner gonna win?
A Neato sound effect, unless you got a better idea.
That sounds awesome to me.
Okay, cool. So when you hear my bell, Jim, you'll have 30 seconds.
Con first.
Con first.
If you think the Corvair handled badly, imagine something with long wheelbase and a Ford V8 hung out of the back with a little tiny fan that barely turns around. Awful. You couldn't see out of the back, you can't see out of the front, and the most terrifying feature of all of this vehicle is that the seats, other than the driver's seats, were not bolted to the interior of the car. That makes cornering fun, accelerating fun, and braking a real thrill. Now, you'd have to be crazy to have this car unless you wanted it as a lawn ornament, and for that, it might be pretty okay.
Right on the money. And now it's time for Bob's turn.
He's the pro.
He's the pro.
Stout Scarab was one of the true breakthrough automobiles. It was the first minivan, even though it didn't have a sliding door. But, the lack of a rear window was good because no one could shine their bright lights at you. And it had a plastic body that would not rust. Okay, it was developed by it had aircraft technology. It was designed by the man who designed the Ford tri-motor airplane. It had a Ford engine, reliable, and it was made in Detroit. What more could you ask for?
Not
Practically
more
born
time
from
because that was
jets.
born from a
Born from
tin
triplane.
corrugated metal box that somehow flew over the South Pole, right, or North Pole, whatever the hell Admiral
Flew
Byrd
over
was
a
in.
pole.
Yes.
It flew over Mr. Wozniacki, who lived out at the sausage factory. That pole. Okay.
Well,
At the sound of my bell,
Look, there's a plane.
Jim will have 15 seconds to rebut.
The Stout Scarab, of course, it does have lines directly to the Tin Goose because it was made of tin. The worst part about it is, of course, that they survived. The best part was they didn't build that many. And my God, what an astonishing vehicle.
which I like very much.
It's not about the car. This is not judging the car.
No.
This is the argument. All right, when you hear my bell, you know what to do.
Okay, first of all, Jim has it wrong. The seats, in fact, were bolted to the floor. They rotated freely 180 degrees, allowing you to look to the side, the front. It was great for view purposes. And how many cars of this vintage that look like this can you find in video games? It's available in a video game.
You mean to tell me it had swivel and go?
Yes, it did.
In the 30s.
Years before Chrysler had come up with it.
Decades.
One of them that shows up at the AutoZone has the seats that are not bolted to the interior.
Well, that might have been customer modified.
Well,
Okay, it's like Ralph Lauren screwing around with all those cars he has. Okay, maybe this guy said, "I think I'll unbolt the seats today."
I still like the idea of them being able to swivel around, sort of like the tilt-a-whirl of vehicles.
Yeah, you go around a corner, just think of the fun. Okay, wow,
That
I'm gonna
that
throw up.
darn Ralph Lauren, he took the Izod and just bastardized it.
Darn tooting.
No, hey, hang on.
We need to do a folk phrase podcast.
Yeah.
Gosh almighty. We need to do that.
Golly.
Shucks.
Shoot. The whole shooting
Gosh.
match. All right.
While
Well-
you guys review the judgments, I'm going to step away to make a phone call. So pause it. I'm going to edit that, what I just said, out, and what I'm
Wash
continuing
your
to
hands,
say.
Wash your hands.
Yes, and let us know what class.
Class M.
No. The six scale,
1 to 6.
Pausing.
Oh wait, is Ben having to go make a phone call to excuse their hard out at 8:15?
Oh my God.
Exactly what it is.
All right, folks. We'll continue the discussion. Okay, so judges, we finished
We're
the
not
bonus.
recording. We're not recording. Yeah, we are. Oh, we
Yes,
are.
we are.
Oh, my gosh.
Judges, we've just finished our bonus round. That is the final. That gives us 4 rounds. Just to review the vehicles, we had the 1958 Edsel Corsair, 1950 Studebaker Commander, 1934 Chrysler Airflow, and the bonus round went to the Stout Scarab. So, judges, what are your thoughts? Jim or Bob, who carried the day today? Let's start with the Edsel. That was round 1. Steven, who did you think won round one?
I gave this one to Jim Hall.
You did give this one to
I
Jim
did.
Hall. Why?
Because, like you said before, you just it's the premier Edsel vehicle. Or no, I'm sorry, that was the wrong argument. Three-tone.
Yes.
I can't get behind three-tone.
We're going to wait for the train.
Oh, your train came in, huh?
No, that's the train that's delivering a fresh supply
Of hobos.
of hobos and of Autoline.
Of vagrants.
Your
Yeah.
latest shipment of Autoline is here.
They've harvested it.
Yes.
With the carrots, they pick them off the trees.
Sort of slowly.
Well, like Autoline sometimes, when the connection is not quite... Well, the RoundAbout show is always fast and to the point.
Hence the name.
Did you move your date till later?
I did. Did you leave me an edit point?
Of course we do.
All right,
didn't
so we're
talk
going to
about-
start because we got the train. We're going to restart.
Oh.
Okay, so just to recap, we've got 4 vehicles here. And in round number 1, we were talking about the 1958 Edsel Corsair. Round 2, 1950 Studebaker Commander. Round 3 was the 34 Chrysler Airflow. And the bonus round was a 1930s vintage stout Scarab. So, round number 1, Steven, we had the Edsel. Who took this one home?
Jim Hall.
And why did Jim?
It's that whole three-tone argument, the three-color argument. I can't get behind it.
Okay,
I don't
understand.
want 3 colors on a
But you
vehicle.
couldn't be swayed by gold and aluminum siding.
Maybe if it was wood paneling, but
Okay.
That was available on the Bermuda.
Alex, who did you give this round to, and why?
Bob, definitely Bob.
Okay, got it.
Definitely Bob.
Definitely.
I mean, the Edsel, like I said earlier, such a hard car to defend. I admired his heart in doing so. It won me over. Really did.
Okay, very good. Defending the indefensible, really. The Edsel is derided by so many folks for being ugly, when really it's not that unattractive.
58 was not a great year for cars, styling-wise, okay? You had some Chrysler stuff that looked spectacular in 57 that got facelifted to look somewhat less than spectacular. Harley Earl was kind of showing that he needed to retire with the 58 GM products. Ford had some interesting stuff, but I mean, it was not a bumper crop. It was not a bumper crop.
But wasn't that also a half year because there was depression at the time and unemployment was like 29% in Detroit at that year?
There's plenty of depression here.
No,
Michelle, car came out in September and ran the full year, but it's like nobody was buying cars.
it was
Right.
it was the so-called Eisenhower recession, and it hit worse in the middle market, and that's where the Edsel was. Let's launch a middle price car in the middle of a really weak market. Not smart.
Right.
Yeah. Well, okay, so Alex, you voted for Bob. Michelle,
Yes.
who did you cast your ballot for?
On the Studebaker, I went with
No, Edsel.
Edsel. I went with Bob.
Wow. Okay. And I gave by the narrowest of margins a point to Jim for his defense. I almost went with you, Bob, but I found that 3-tone argument compelling because that is not something we see today. 2-tone cars
Did we
are
just tie?
exceedingly rare.
No, but you didn't have to get a 3-tone. Yeah, that's it. You didn't have to get a 3-tone.
It
You
was
get
a
2-tone.
choice. So, yes. Actually, this round is tied up. 2 to
I
2.
like the 3-tone, so.
You don't have to change the sheets either. Round 2, Studebaker Commander. Let's start with you, Alex. Who did you vote for, and why?
I went with Bob again. I like the skewer argument. I like the idea that this car can just mangle somebody you don't like. It looks mean, especially when it's painted black. And you know what? I also think it could use a 45-pound turbine in it. So
Born
that
from
was
Jets.
another winning argument.
Studebaker.
Okay, so
Very good, very good. And you, Michelle? Who did you
You know
cast?
what? I went with Jim on this one, despite the fact that I actually was raised by a babysitter that drove one.
Oh my God! That explains a lot.
Was she the one that was blind?
Yes.
Do you have cyclopean dogs?
The man to my left, Stephen J. Ewing from Autoblog. Who did you think won
I-
round 2, 1950 Studebaker
I
Commander?
gave this one to Bob as well, even though Jim did teach us the important lesson of turbine versus turbine and how those are two different things. Very different things. But much like Alex, I have to agree. Bob's whole argument of being able to just drill right into someone. It's a beautiful thing to do.
I have to explain something. I picked that up in Australia. Australia was looking at regulation. This is not a joke. They're looking at regulation, and they had an argument. Do we do pedestrian protection? And in Australia, the argument was, first of all, it would end up benefiting kangaroos more and emus who run across the road. And the Aussie attitude
They don't
was,
vote.
No, the Aussie attitude was, if you're stupid enough to walk in front of a car, it's your problem, not the man. And that was the logic on why they didn't think.
Very logic, period.
Yeah.
But actually, the kangaroos probably are a bigger demographic than young people voting. But anyway.
It's very likely.
Yeah. Okay, I also awarded this round to Bob. So by the narrowest of margins,
Yet again.
Bob Hall is in the lead. We had a tie, null. Round 2 goes to Bob. Bob is now the front runner. 1934 airflow. Who wants to
Chrysler
start us
Airflow.
up?
1934 Chrysler Airflow.
Yes. Who carried the day?
You know what?
So-
I'll start because Jim brings up a good point. I awarded this to him because we were talking about the Chrysler Airflow, but the airflow you want is the DeSoto, and that was his argument. So I gave this one to Jim.
Okay, strong argument. Michelle?
I actually went with Bob on this one because I think that the larger wheelbase is something that was translated more into cars for the next few decades. Yeah.
Well,
so-
Michelle, I had to tell you, the DeSoto wasn't really short.
I know. Neither one of them were short. I have to go with the BS answer.
Yeah. I went with Bob on this one because the smooth ride really appeals to me.
The floating ride.
As born a geriatric, I appreciate comfort, refinement, and if you're in a 1930s car, you want that sofa lounge in the back, and you're suspended
you wouldn't
between
know
the
what to
axles.
do with a back seat, Craigie.
It's for carrying passengers to bridge, Michelle.
I did four
And nothing else.
No, not bridge. Canasta.
Oh, yeah. You need the canasta board.
Cribbage?
Cribbage.
All right.
What about
Al-
Alex? He's got a vote.
I know.
Okay.
I'm getting to him next. Alex, who did you vote for?
Well,
which of the
my
Hall
vote's
twins?
going to Jim on this one because I think by bringing up the DeSoto, he reminded us that if you want a car that's named after somebody, do you want one that's named after Walter P. or do you want a car named after a bloodthirsty Spanish conquistador who slaughtered and pillaged?
A man
I
that
definitely
wiped
want the
out.
latter.
He wiped out a civilization,
Not many folks
Probably
can
more
have
than
that to their
one
credit.
because he was awesome, and I want to drive in a car named after him.
It has his bust on the hood too. The hood ornament.
Really?
Right?
Hernando. Actually, not on a 34.
But yeah,
But-
later models,
Yes.
definitely. So we have another tie this round.
That's a split?
It's a 2-2. Bob is still in the lead. He carried round 2 with the 1950 Studebaker Commander. 1934 Chrysler Airflow. Our round 3 car is another tie.
Bob ahead by but 1 point.
One
What
scant.
about the bonus round?
1930s Scout Scarab.
Now, I just want to ask, isn't this the round where you get double points if you do not have a name that can be reversed and is the same? Isn't that how it works? I think that's it. I'm not sure. Isn't that it? I'm probably mistaken, but I thought that was it.
I got to figure out how to spell Robert backwards real fast.
You can't.
All right, folks. Who carried the day in this round?
Why don't you go first? Because you've never gone first.
I don't want to go first.
Just go first.
Take it, Craig.
Take the initiative.
Be a man.
I think...
Be an old man because you were born geriatric.
I think, Jim, you brought up the Ford V8, which is a topic very near and dear to my heart, which is something Bob neglected to do.
Of course he did.
Which is why I would have, based on the argument, the merits of the debate here, I have to award this round to you, Ford V8. So, that was my decision there. Who is next? Who wants to grab this bull by the horns, as it were? This insect.
Hornswoggle.
Steven.
Yeah, I'll go. I keep coming back to the seats not being bolted to the car. Or if they were bolted, just still being the original swivel and go sort of thing. And
You get sick either way.
And I like that. Honestly, I sort of like that idea. It sounds like a lot of fun, but because I like it and because that means it's a pro for the car, I have to award this one to Bob.
Wise choice.
Well,
Still
I'll go
tied
next.
up.
I'll go next. So
All right, Rochelle.
I'm going to give this one to Jim because I, as a gardener, love different things in my garden that I can put plants in. And I have water heaters that are painted hot pink and,
Is it a garden or a garbage dump?
That's a garden. That is a garden. That is a postmodern, a post-apocalyptic garden.
You know what? I think
Did
I
she
just
say
lost
water
Michelle's check.
heaters painted pink in her yard? I thought I
Michelle
misheard
is
that.
actually a Jawa. She scavenges.
I'm going with Jim. Jim sold me.
Voted with Jim. Okay. It is all down to Mr. Kierstein.
Oh boy.
Are you gonna? Is it gonna be a tie, and we have to go to the audience to decide, or are you gonna finish this baby?
Luckily
No
for
pressure.
me, I don't have a tally sheet in front of me, so I'm actually not clear where the score is. So I'm just gonna shoot from the hip,
All right.
and I'm gonna go with Jim on this one because actually, both Steven and Michelle already gave both the reasons why I was gonna vote Jim on this. I think I like the idea of the Scarab as a lawn ornament more than I like the idea of driving it with those scary swivel seats. So, Jim. And that's
All
my
right.
final answer.
Do you have to use like the Calculon
All right.
9000 to come up with the results, or is it?
No. I have my tally sheet right here. Let's do a recap. First round, 1958 Edsel Corsair. That went to Jim. Round 2, 1950 Studebaker Commander. Bob took that one away.
As well it should
Wrapped
have.
it up. Third round. No, I'm sorry. Let's start again.
Let's
Mark
start at
it
the top.
down.
Which one were you in favor of? It
Hold
sounds
on,
like
hold
Jim
on.
and the pros and
No, no,
cons.
no.
Get that
Let's
Computertron back on again.
How much are we
go.
paying on the computer?
Hold your
The
horses.
computer's
Everyone
not
pause.
very good, is it?
Apparently not.
Its wireless card is bad, yes. Round 1, let's recap. Round 1, 1958 Edsel Corsair was a tie. The brothers were equal. Round 2, 1950 Studebaker Commander was awarded to Bob Hall. 3-1. Round number 3, 1934 Chrysler Airflow, another tie. Evenly matched. They are twins, after all. Round 4, our bonus round, 1930 Scout Scarab, went to Mr. Jim Hall. So we have ourselves a tie. We had 2 rounds that were tied, 1 round for Bob, 1 round went to Jim. That means our tiebreaker has to go to our live audience. Audience, who carried the day? You've got 1
10
minute.
seconds. 10 seconds.
10 seconds to vote. So chat room, get ready. Tell us who won. Was
Remember,
it Bob
chat
Hall?
room, your vote
Scott
counts.
Scott in Cleveland says Jim. Mud Monster says Bob.
I like the way
Gorski
this
Motor
is.
Mouth
C
says
says
vote.
Bob.
I really like the way this is going.
Gorsk says Bob. How many seconds, Ben?
All right, we're done.
Oh,
It goes.
By the audience,
Bob.
out of 3 votes, Bob carries the day.
I'm glad the public understands.
Actually, Mirko also voted for Bob after
the German
buzzer,
delay
so-
voted for Bob.
Well, it was coming from overseas.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's allowable.
Wait a moment.
Listen.
Wait a moment. Isn't Mirko's vote a metric vote?
I
Does
believe
it
it is.
So it doesn't count. It actually is a negative number, I think, isn't it?
What if his vote was euro-based vis-a-vis the dollar?
What if it had a hanging Chad? These are questions I can't answer.
Which one? Would that be? Which one?
That's
Everett?
a triplet that never came out.
No, which hanging Chad was it? Everett?
I don't know.
No, that's not funny, Bob. It wasn't. No.
Oh.
Sorry.
Jim, I'm afraid that means you're the loser. You landed on the lava. You died.
Now, the lava in this case is actually just vinegar and baking powder, right?
Yeah.
Baking soda.
Harmless.
If you've been
I have-
paying attention,
I have
indeed.
a stainless steel box I'd like to put you in over here.
Now, that's got thorium in it.
sorry,
I am
yeah.
not going to get near it.
Harmless baking soda and vinegar unless
And
you
thorium.
asphyxiate. Yes. So, on the carbon dioxide. Mm-mm.
This
Delicious
means
stuff.
This means that Bob gets a brooch.
A brooch.
Who needs a brooch?
On his next visit.
I'll get a brooch.
As Victor,
Now, I'd like to recommend that Bob's brooch be thorium encrusted, please.
well,
And
I'll
if
see
I
what I
can
can
test
do.
it, I'll put it in my mouth. It's got a tingling sensation.
I had to spend an hour at the Salvation Army to find some
The brooch?
brass piece of garbage I could buy and polish it.
Garbage?
Treasure.
It's an elegant object d'art.
It is a treasure beyond the price of avarice. Please.
Is it hanging in a
Garbage
sacred
that
place in your
came-
home?
right from Michelle's yard. So,
Found under a log.
All right, guys. I think we got to wrap this show up. But
We do.
Good job, everyone. Michelle Naranjo, managing editor, autobytel.com. Thank you for joining us this week.
Thank you for having me, Craigie.
You're ever so welcome. You're ever so welcome.
See you next week.
Sounds like you're not on next week, are you?
No, but if you come see me on Monday, I'll be
No
there.
one's on next.
And Detroit next week.
Shay. Stephen J. Ewing, autoblog.com. Always a
Me?
pleasure.
Oh, always a pleasure.
Glad to have you.
Indeed.
Alex Kierstein, or Kierstein. I don't know however you pronounce it in Seattle.
we
Same
don't
as
know
turbine
either.
and turbine.
Yeah, whatever.
Yes, yes. You are from Hooniverse.com, no?
Yes, I am. That's a fact.
Great website. Check it out. Hooniverse.com. Thank you again for joining us. Great job, as always.
It was splendiferous,
Splenda?
which is made from real sugar.
Apparently.
Can't cook with it.
And of course, I have to thank the Super Hall brothers for joining us. Jim Hall, 2953 Analytics. Bob Hall from somewhere else.
It's always a pleasure.
In town from SoCal, actually. But thank you guys for sticking around, taking the time to be on
Glad to
Roundabout.
be here.
And never again since he lost.
No, I'll be
He's
back,
going to-
but there's a better than even chance I'll be armed, as I am now.
Will you
No,
have...
as you can see.
There's a shirt that has a picture of a man with these very large, hairy arms. And it says the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms.
I thought that was the right to arm bears all the time.
I don't know.
I have been giving,
Yeah.
I have been giving machine pistols to Ursine mammals in northern Michigan. Have I been making a mistake?
And yeah, I remember you sent some of those MP40 Schmeisers for me to give to the bears up in Yellowstone.
Yeah.
You referenced a aquatic mammal today in Autoline Daily, FYI, which was hilarious. Anyway. And last but not least, Ben Sanders for making this show possible. Thank you to you.
Hello.
All right. So don't miss
Goodbye.
your chance to win. Viewers, don't miss your chance to win $100 by listening to Roundabout on your smartphone by using Stitcher. Just go to Stitcher.com/roundabout. Then when you register your new Stitcher account, don't forget to enter the promo code Roundabout. One of our lucky listeners will be entered to win $100 each month. Jim, you've got a Samsung Galaxy's phone.
Yeah, it is a Galaxy's phone, but I would be afraid that if I were to enter it, that I would win. The only thing I win, and I'd be ineligible by being a guest.
No, that's not true.
No, you'd walk away.
No, Craig
As
has no standards.
No.
Well, no, Michelle, he does, but they're
Michelle, honey,
exceedingly
that's,
low.
That's obviously not true.
Can you win a brooch?
True.
So remember, you can watch Roundabout live every Friday evening starting at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 on the West Coast. So if you're larking about the office, Bob,
Be there or be rectangular.
yes,
Exactly.
some sort of polygon. And don't forget to check out the rest of the Autoline family of fine programs, including Autoline Detroit, Autoline After Hours, and of course, Autoline Daily, Jim Hall's baby. If you got a question or comment you need addressed, you can always get in touch with us on the RoAb hotline. Just give us a call, 1-559-RoAb-411, and numbers, that is 1-559-762-2411. We'd love to hear from you. You can get in touch with us on Twitter. We're on twitter.com/roundabout show or Facebook as well, facebook.com/roundabout show. Pretty easy to find. Just search for us if you're having trouble. But
Google Plus?
we're on the Google Plus too.
Not yet.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Coming
This-
soon to a smartphone
Watch
or
this
computer
space.
near you.
We're waiting to see if this goes, MySpace
Empire
or Friendster.
Avenue?
Yeah,
But it won't be coming to the WebOS in your car.
Right.
because it's not going to your car. No. And with that, we can wrap up this show, gentlemen and lady. Thanks to all of you out there listening. Please join us again next week as we circle the roundabout. We will talk to you then.
Oh, what happened to my sound effect?
The battery is deceased.
Oh, this happened to my sound effect.
8-bit.
Well, thank you guys. Good hustle.
Nice. Yeah, good hustle. Yeah, catch this. Hold on. Let me
Let me see it with my face.
Batteries, fire!
And we got to thank our chat room. Gorski C joined us. Mirko all the way aus Deutschland. Thank you, my friend. It must be like 5 in the morning or something. I'm not certain. Miss Motormouth, Mud Monster, of course, our stalwart fan. Scott in Cleveland, I believe. Cleveland, possibly Ohio. Sean in Erie, thank you very much. And thanks to all of our panelists here. Good night.
Goodbye.
Now get the hell